Time to rock and roll.
You go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Notice is hereby given that a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Tuesday, June 14th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas. All agenda items are subject to action. A recording of the telephonic meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon request. The public is permitted to offer public comments telephonically or by video as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with City Secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com or by calling 210-607-0834 if speaking telephonically or by video. Written comments may be submitted to the city secretary up to 2 hours before the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com and will be provided to the city council for their consideration. We're called to order at 6:32. Madam Secretary, may we have a quorum call?
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Martinez.
Present.
Alderwoman Alvarado. Here. Alderman Rapino.
Here.
Alderman Poppendorfer.
Here.
Alderwoman Martinez.
Here.
I don't see Cassandra on yet. I think she was going to join us virtually, but you do have a form, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. If you would, all rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I believe we have a citizen to be heard. Am I correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, we do. Mr. Hornbush.
Mr. Hormashay, if you'd stand up and address council, we are all ears.
Gotta stand up.
No, you can sit down, sir.
Yeah, you can say.
Relax.
Thank you. I guess most of you guys know me. And you know I'm 76, you know I'm living on Social Security. And quite frankly, it's tough. I've got a couple of trees down in my front yard right now. My house got all kinds of problems and I can't afford to fix them. So if the city could see its way clear to approve this measure, I would be most grateful. At least it would give me an opportunity to ask for some help. That's all I have to say, Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Hormashay. With that, we shall move right into agenda item number 3, discuss and or possible action on ARPA fund expenditures and allocations. I've prepared a handout. I hope everybody got a copy. I folded mine into the middle of the box. Okay, here we go. American Rescue Plan Act. And another name that you'll hear used for these funds are state and local fiscal recovery funds, often abbreviated SLFRF. So if you see those, think ARPA. We've received a $263,200.50 deposit August 25th of 2021. September 29th of 2021, we received an additional $300,000. So in 2021, the tranche, everybody know about tranche? It's one of a series of securities in a single financial transaction. Okay. Payments. But accountant types don't like to hear payments, so it's a tranche. In 2022, we are scheduled to receive another tranche of $563,250.50. So the total of the SLFRF funds will be $1,126,401. Of the $563,250 $563,200.50. We have made several commitments. Back in early January, City Council approved $200,000 for resident assistance. Specifically mentioned at that time was utility payments and mortgages and rent payments where people are going to lose their utilities or lose their home or be kicked out on the street. We set aside $200,000 for that matter, and we have spent well under $15,000. The applications seem to have slowed down. It seems like everybody is caught up. Excuse me. So in the resident assistance fund, we have a balance of $186,509.04 at this time. The exercise equipment, we approved $60,000 for that. We have spent well under $50,000 at this time. We have a few more additions to make, but I suspect that entire project will come in right at $50,000. That $10,000 will then be rolled back into the ARPA funds for other purposes. We put some park lights in. We allocated $6,700. We have a few $100s of that not used. We've committed $52,000 as the matching funds for the TDA drainage grant. $30,737.08 for the Taurus. And just last week, we allocated $32,000 for the Ford Explorer.
But it's supposed to be 32,500. I don't know if it makes a big difference.
Well, I missed that part.
Okay.
I will note that. Please note that I was $500 on that item. So when we take out all the money that we have committed, we have a 2021 balance of $181,000, $763.42 remaining that's not committed at this time.
Excuse me. So you're saying that was all the total for the 2021 and we still have the 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, I will say we have some things coming up. Our road bond money is not going to cover the repairs to New Mathis Road and Flat River Road. When our original engineers gave us that figure, they calculated no repairs, just doing a little bit of
It's the labor and
covering the road,
labor and
chip
material.
seal. No, they were gonna chip seal 6 miles of road, but not do any shoulder or lane repair. That would be throwing it away to just put chip seal out. New Mathis Road is in terrible condition because it was never meant to be a main thoroughfare. We need to bring it up to grade or we can watch it disappear. So, Michael, what was the figure? We're
It's about 200, right?
almost 200,000
It was
additional
181.
dollars.
Yeah.
In addition to what,
Yes, sir.
okay.
So when we're looking at this money, keep in mind that we are going to have the road repairs coming. And in my mind, I don't think we have any choice in the matter. The original plan was flawed. So we're going to have to back up and punt.
So these funds will cover that with no issue.
These funds,
The,
the remaining fund
The
will be real
2023.
close to covering it.
okay, so with the next plan in place, you're saying 200,000. Is that including follow along maintenance, which the previous plan was missing? Or is that just to upgrade the road? And we go. from
That's
there?
up to upgrade the road. Those repairs should last on the order of 12 to 15 years before it needs to be readdressed.
Okay.
Putting in chip seal is
That's
uh,
trying to
on
empty the ocean with paper.
on a good road, layering it with chip seal will give you about 5 to 7 years of no additional maintenance needed. But that's neither here nor there. This is what we've allocated, what we're looking forward to. We should receive before September, the second tranche of $500,000. And then we need to, in my estimation, do some long-term planning with what the city's gonna need. We're only elected for 2 years, but we actually need to have a 5 and a 10-year plan in place. Otherwise, we'll never be able to afford a capital project. So moving forward, I think we need to do a better job of planning and implementation than has been done in the past. When the city started, we had nothing. Yeah, so we've spent years swatting flies trying to develop something. We are on a good path now, in my estimation, but it could be improved by some future planning rather than continually reacting. With that said, that's all I have to say about agenda item 3A. But the table is always open for discussion.
So the remainder 181,763 would be the almost 200,000 that we're gonna apply.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
so that takes care of 2021. And hopefully by September, we get the second half, and then we hopefully have a plan, a good plan for that,
That's
basically.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
New management coming in too, so.
exactly. Instead of waiting for, the new election, the new people coming in, we have something already said that they can still work on and follow through.
You know, with every election, there can be a total turnover.
Mhm.
And
Switch it up.
and plans can be remade, but I'd like to have a framework to hang something on.
Ideally, it can have a focus instead of just,
Exactly.
So my question is this. I'm sure with all that different ideas, where do we want to see the money allocated to? Sir, you're saying that we should take it under advisement. New Mathis Road needs the repairs. Flat out. Now, I also get the privilege of working on the Animal Control Shelter Committee, where one of the things I want to see is something better than what we got out here than a 5-room Motel 6 for a bunch of dogs. Because to me, that's what it looks like. So I'm looking at improving on that. I see what Tom's been doing with the Parks and Recreation Board. I think doing great with putting in the exercise equipment. I'm looking at stuff that would probably be more akin to towards the kids.
What we,
So that's what I'm getting at here is what different areas are we looking at here?
Well, we
Well-
have more to work with than just the ARPA funds. too.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, but
and that's what I'm saying. Right now, I want to talk about developing a framework for future planning so that we can allocate funds to where they're mostly needed. Okay. If we don't have a plan, you're ex-military, you know, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Exactly, every time.
So I think we need to do a better job, and that means we need to have some town halls and public hearings, because it isn't my money and it isn't your money, it's everybody's money.
Mhm.
Okay. I'd like to move on to agenda item 8B, discuss and or possible action on additional allocations of funds and or reallocations of funds. When we first talked about citizen and household assistance, the specific items mentioned were, as I said, utility assistance, rent and mortgage payments. Recently, I have been exposed to the fact we have a lot of handicapped people here living at below poverty levels. One gentleman on disability has no porch. His steps are pretty disgusting. He's living on disability, which is way below the poverty level. The only reason I know about this is he fell down coming down the steps, and it required several people to assist him back into his house. A local pastor called me and updated me on the issue there.
Is the gentleman all right now?
He recovered from the fall, but no, he's not all right.
He recovered from the fall, that's good.
Without a decent landing platform and legitimate steps, he's going to fall again.
How can we help him?
Well, we call 2 or 3 local contractors that can build him a set of steps. Okay. We have another household where both the husband and wife are disabled, living on disability, well under the poverty level. Medicare has approved her for an electric wheelchair,
Mhm.
but they have no ramp and they can afford no ramp. In another instance, we have a 65-year-old military veteran, disabled, not service related, on disability, who has had no water in his house since the winter storm of 2021. He's bringing in water from his outside hydrant in jugs to wash and flush. We have a lot of issues like this that we should address. So what I would like to do is on the resident assistance funds that we have set aside is to put 180,000 of those dollars into household assistance for home repairs. I think we should first address handicapped persons below the federal poverty level. Then address seniors below the federal poverty level. If we have funds left, then other households at or below the federal poverty level.
I think we need to put in a framework that we means test people and we put these criteria in before we go to spending taxpayer money or public funds.
Go to page 2, sir.
Okay. All right, good.
Here's the poverty guidelines for the 48 contiguous states in the District of Columbia.
Okay.
Hawaii and Alaska have a somewhat higher rate.
Mhm.
I think this is the means test we should abide by.
So do people apply or how do we go about it?
Well, I think we should make public announcements over
Just like we did for the electric and
the
the,
normal ways that we address people through Nixle, through city website, or the various San Diego social media sites.
Mhm.
Uh,
So how do we substantiate their claims so that the city
It's real
is,
simple. Anybody on disability or social security will have a letter.
okay?
There are paperwork on that really, and it's not like they gotta work hard to get that paperwork.
Well,
That's
no,
easy.
I'm not opposed to doing any of this. I want to help these people. I just want the city to be, you know how quick
Mhm.
people will
Right,
throw stones at us if we are not.
right. And plus you
Yeah.
want to
Well,
document,
Yeah.
I,
Want
I know,
something fair that cuts out the red tape.
right.
yeah, well, that's fine. We don't need a 6-month period before somebody gets help.
It's
That's right.
it's
Well,
like,
that-
it's like San Antonio, if you're on SNAP or Medicaid, automatically you qualify for a lot of things.
Yeah.
So they just have to show proof and,
Yeah, and that's fine. I just
One
want
of the programs,
documentation.
yeah.
one of the programs we are gonna have in this city by September is Meals on Wheels.
Mhm.
Anybody over the age of 62 automatically. No, they're talking about your real age, not how you feel, Tom. Anybody over the age of 62 automatically qualifies. The HUD, for the purpose of Meals on Wheels, assumes that anybody over the age of 62 qualifies for the help. What I've discussed, I think we need to allocate $180,000 of that original commitment towards our handicapped seniors and people living below the poverty level. My personal desire is to reach out to the handicapped first, because they are in the most dire need.
You know, I don't see how somebody can live on some of these.
I know, that's what I'm looking at. 8 people for $46,000.
Well, just even one person on $13,000.
We actually, to my knowledge, have one person here surviving on an $800 a month disability
Oh,
payment,
gosh.
$9,600 a year. The
I
gentleman
mean,
I
I guess
was,
if you have to, you have to.
the gentleman I was talking about with the,
Without the water.
with the bad stairs,
Oh,
he's on $1,100 a month disability. That's less than $14,000 a year. So, yes, there's no question. Fortunately, his home was paid for, and he has a fairly recent model car before he was disabled and could no longer work.
We use
But
that
it-
for gas now.
Exactly. At these levels, these people will never be able to.
No, you're right. They couldn't get the home repairs. They couldn't add the porch the gentleman needs, the other family that needs the ramp. They wouldn't be able to add them on.
That it'll
That's
never
beyond the
happen.
pipe dream. It would never happen.
There are programs to assist with these issues, but those programs are 60 months, 8 months out.
Mhm.
In 6 to 8 months,
Things can happen.
what's gonna happen to these people?
They
How
don't
many
need to be
times does
homebound
that
in
man
6
gonna
to
have to
8
fall
months.
down his stairs before he's no longer able to live alone?
Now, we could reach out to, because I used to work for a DME company. You could reach out to a DME company to set up shop at the community center maybe once a month.
They whom?
DME
DME.
company, DME equipment, like durable medical equipment,
Durable medical equipment.
wheelchairs, walkers, canes. And they know exactly what codes or diagnoses they need for each item. Medicare expects you to use a cane before you use a walker, before you use a wheelchair, before you use electric wheelchair. So there's steps, right,
Yes,
to
ma'am.
your diagnoses. So we could ask them if they would, because it's, it's to their benefit,
Yeah.
if they could set up in the community center, have the people that have the Medicare and Medicaid, sometimes, like our company, they waived the 20%, so they didn't have to have a supplemental, as long as they had Medicare. And we would sit down and talk to Medicare with them, because Medicare won't release any information to us when I work for them. And then, we could get them qualified for those items. And because they're durable medical equipment, they can have it right away, right? Now, the ramps and all that takes a long time,
Well, that,
but they can help them along, but as far as us providing
Medicare
them
will not pay for a
a
ramp.
ramp, right?
They won't pay for handicap stairs.
They won't pay for plumbing in somebody's house that's failed.
They,
Right.
they
No,
won't.
No, of course, Medicare does.
So we have some really pressing needs in this city.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah,
I-
yeah, you're right. I mean, if we have the funds available and we have more than, a few people that need it, of course. I would.
Well, I
Expect
think
us
we
to
know that we need to do this, so let's
Mhm.
do it.
well,
So first, we need a motion
Are we gonna put any,
to allocate the funds.
that's right.
First, we need to have the motion
Mhm.
to allocate the funds. Am I correct, sir? Charles?
you've been reading the guidelines. Yes.
Something told me to get educated.
Nothing can happen until we have a motion on the
Exactly.
table.
So we have to have a motion for the $181,763.42.
No, sir.
No.
186.
180.
That's it.
Look,
I'm looking
over
at
over
Yeah,
on
look at
the,
the blue.
the blue, okay,
The blue.
186,509.04. I'm just
okay,
clarifying before we all do it. To go towards the home repairs, needed upgrades for the handicapped people, for the disabled people, for the low income people that meet the criteria of poverty and that do not have a means to get these things taken care of.
Is that a motion?
I think it is.
I'll second.
I'd like you to restate the motion, sir.
Verbatim, please.
You got to do better on your
Play
shoulder.
it back.
Hey, I got the. I got
If I were to be making the motion, sir, which I'm certainly not, because it's not my place, I would make a motion similar to this. I move that we allocate $183,000 of the remaining
83?
$186,509.04 in the resident assistance program. That's how I would do it.
Okay, so do we have a residence assistance program already set up? Wasn't here when it all happened. So I'm just validating that we got.
We have money that's allocated to resident
Resident
assistance,
Assistance Program.
okay?
Good with that? Yes.
If we have money, then we can talk about a program.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we allocate $183,000 of the $186,509.04 to go towards the resident assistance road grant.
I'll second.
Four.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Coffin-Tapper to allocate $183,000 to resident assistance. With a second from Alderman Rapino. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's move right on along. Since we've allocated money, I think we should further talk about the first recipients will be handicapped living under the poverty guideline rates. Second would be seniors living under the poverty guideline rates. Third would be families living under the poverty guideline rates.
So we're gonna prioritize and prioritize. We're prioritizing by the poverty rates, and then we're prioritizing by class. In other words, when I say class, I mean
Handicapped
handicapped
seniors
seniors and
and families in general. I think that would be the right thing to do. We're discussing, sir.
I know, but that's what I'm doing.
I'm listening as well
I'm
as
So
thinking
we
talking.
gotta
about it.
come up with an order of merit list. Who would be first on the list to be able to receive the funds?
You mean within the class?
Handicaps.
Within the, yeah, within.
Those that need the residential assistance,
Well, some people would fall in the,
the need
There
may
could
be
be-
greater
there
because of
could
lack
be-
of water.
yeah, there could be,
They all have
handi-
to be under the
there
poverty.
could be senior handicap
Mhm.
under the so the.
But not under poverty level, I understand.
No, they could be in all three or in two or, so. Okay.
It's almost like a point
I'll go
scale.
with it.
Right, so like a rating scale, so you
Yeah.
get a point for, I hate to say that, right? You get a point for being handicapped, you get a point for being senior, and you get a point for being below the poverty level.
And-
Those take priority, right?
And if this is anything like the what we have when we put it out for rent or not rent, but utilities, and we may not have that many people applying, so we don't know.
Well,
But I'll go along with that.
There's another thing.
here's the thing, Tom, if 60 days from today, we have funds left here, we can always expand which citizens we're going to be able to assist out of that. I can tell you right now, no program is going to provide every need for every person.
No, I know that.
So it falls on us to make decisions as to how this money will be
I
allocated.
agree.
So, no matter what happens, someone's going to yell, it's not fair.
That's why I want it to be,
But it's
Yeah,
not fair.
yeah, we have to have guidelines.
It's not fair for us to just take this money and scatter it about the streets and say, help yourself.
Or-
definitely don't want to do that.
Or
Uh,
force come for serve, that wouldn't help.
Is there a threshold that we want to impose that
That's a good,
if it's a complete plumbing job, is that something that we want to take on, right? A complete replumb of the house? If it's that bad, I don't know, but
I can tell you what that cost, what it cost me.
Or a complete wiring job of the house because of fire hazard of how old the wiring is.
Justification.
I mean, I think we start at like a $10,000 max per project. That's 18 people we could potentially help, right? Based off of the numbers we're given.
Mhm.
And I think we have more than 18.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean,
Yes.
it's still,
but they wouldn't all have that.
they wouldn't have a $10,000
10.
project. I mean, what does a deck cost these days? Or not a deck, but a ramp? I'm assuming with
A
the prices
ramp
of
would
lumber,
cost-
5 to
Oh.
7 grand, if not
It's
10.
Yeah,
true.
something like that. Yeah.
I know when you get a home through the,
But that's be ADA
Yeah.
Compliant.
compliant,
when you buy a home that's,
ADA compliant.
not ADA compliant, but when you get the loan, the There's a loan,
FHA.
FHA loan. Like my next door neighbor, they were required to install a front porch and it had to be like a minimum of like
Yeah.
3 by 6 or something like that.
Right.
We could always consider if a ramp is needed, that it's the, like a FHA.
Well,
loan.
There are guidelines and I think anytime that we deal with a handicapped person, like the gentleman I'm speaking of, he does not currently need a ramp,
Mhm.
but we should build his landing platform adequately that when he needs a ramp, it can be added without tearing everything down to the ground and starting over.
What you're talking about there is what's called a low-rise steps. Your standard step is 6 to 8 inches, I believe. Low-rise would be half of that. So instead of it being 4 steps going up, it would be 8 shorter steps.
That's actually not needed for an ADA compliant.
No, I'm just looking at something that's easier to
Stairway.
get up and
Well,
down.
we shouldn't be arguing what we're gonna put in. it.
No.
We don't know what the people are gonna want or need. We need to deal with what
We
we
need
get.
Well,
The
I'm
guidelines.
just saying, let's give projects a little forethought, because if it's going to need to be extended within the next few years, we should go ahead and provide for that eventuality
I agree.
presently.
I mean,
Uh,
but as you said, we're not gonna be able to help everybody with everything.
But I think a lot can change in 5 years.
Well, in the precedence of order, I would say there's wording that we're missing. I think the first 3 that we've got lined out sound correct. But what about for the needs of basic life in their home? What I mean by that is
Water,
water,
Yeah.
electric, gas,
AC.
working. Well,
AC.
that's why I said those 3.
Mhm.
AC will fall into that.
Mhm.
Where would that fall into the precedence at? If we're talking about the basic needs of life in southern Texas,
you're talking AC, $5 grand right there.
possibly
At least.
depending upon the square
Yeah.
footage. My point being, the person who is not a senior, who is not handicapped, but they are in the poverty level, would they take precedence over somebody who has 2 points? Referring to the point system.
Right.
Or would they be, you gotta wait on that and suffer while we take care of this over here?
Well,
So my
also,
point,
also it would be something that could be taken care of right away. So if we can do something like that quickly and get it out of the way, I don't think it would hurt.
so we're
anything,
also
but-
looking at how much time it would take to do the input of the
Yeah.
repairs
Mhm.
is gonna play a part in the precedence.
Well, I would think so, because if you're gonna build a deck or a ADA ramp or whatever, we have to get the contract so that you know that's gonna take at least someone 3 months, whatever time it takes.
We can't spend 3 months.
Well, it depends on the contractor.
Okay,
Yeah, they're back.
What we need to do is
Guidelines.
the minimum that will bring these people up to a comfortable life.
But I'm saying if somebody needs a fan and an AC, we can provide that.
So
That could be window unit too.
Yeah.
What about the water flow into a house? Is
Yeah.
that just
No, I mean,
a
I think-
simple broken
I think-
pipe?
Yeah, that has to, things like that, basic necessities, whether it be electric or water, those have to take priority as well.
So do you think those would be worth 2 points each?
If we're continuing on the point scale, yeah. I think we
Working
can
with the
define
point
that,
scale,
yeah.
So that's a type of precedence.
I personally think that if a person cannot get out of their house to go to the doctor,
That's a priority.
Yeah,
that's a
for sure.
priority.
That's very important.
And that's
But
why,
you see, that's a sticky situation, because then if we don't act on it quick enough, are they gonna say?
well,
I'm
ma'am,
thinking,
let's address one issue at a time.
Yeah,
what I think is when
Where's the
somebody
liability?
justifies their
That's the thing.
position, we need to look at it and
We
make
need
a
to know, yeah.
decision then. I mean, because everybody's gonna be
it's gonna
different.
be different.
Somebody comes up, I don't have any water, I don't have an electricity. I can't get out of my house because my steps are collapsing.
Yeah.
Somebody or we or whoever we deem to make the decision on whether we give this person assistance has to look at it and prioritize it and then say,
Okay,
go ahead, and we're gonna help this person, and we're gonna do this, this, and this,
Good.
and it's gonna cost this much. We can't make these decisions now. We don't know what we're gonna get.
Exactly.
and that would move us right into agenda item 8C. Discuss and/or possible action on authority of expenditures. What I'd like to do is receive a motion from council to approve myself, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez, and Alderwoman Alvarado to look at needs and make a decision as to the priority and be able to authorize the work. Making a report at every city council as to what decisions and what expenditures we had made. I don't think, I do know 2 local contractors that are insured and qualified to bid this work. So we should be able to get a pretty good turnaround on the work. And I will be seeking additional local legally qualified contractors and rotate through trying to get 3 bids on every job.
I see nothing wrong with that.
I think
But
that's
I would
excellent.
think that it would need full council approval when we bring that item up to be done.
That's what he said. They would report to the council.
Well, it would just be a
But not
report,
ask
right?
for Approval.
We would, and I'll tell him, I think what he's saying is mayor, myself, Ms. Alvarado would meet privately, review and approve the
Well, I
project.
agree with
Then we
that.
would just come to the council and say, we did this project, we completed this project. It was 10 grand, this project was 5 grand.
Okay, but then
No.
I'm saying that that's fine, but then I would, before the project is done, I would want the full council to approve it. See what I'm saying?
I would also want, if you wanted to run that way, what you're talking about, to where you would say, okay, this is what we're doing. I would want to see at least 2 members of the city on that committee that are not up here in this room right now, that are not one of us sitting at this table. Because that opens it up to where people outside of this room that is not officially here can see what we do. That covers all 3 of you.
Like actual constituents, or you mean like?
Our constituents,
employees?
the people of the committee, the people of our city
Ah, gotcha.
that would be on that committee, just so that way we're covering our keisters. So no matter later on,
So,
when we have a whole change of this
Alderman
room,
Coffenapper, I don't disagree with you,
I know it's hard to get them.
but we
That's the problem.
we could be looking for members of that committee in 6 months,
That's very true.
all right? I'm saying the man fell out of his house 2 weeks ago. And it's taken me 2 weeks to get this meeting to address the issue.
Then let me try it another way.
Okay,
You have the group, we approve that, because we gotta have a motion before we can do it. But it's an open meeting that does take conversation from the general public at any time that they are present. In other words, they would be able to show up in here and address the 3 of you.
But can you imagine how long each project's gonna take? If he has 4 and I have 4 and he has 4, can you imagine how long it's gonna take to address those issues?
I'm going to use this gentleman sitting in our gallery as an example. You can still limit the time, just like we do at our council meetings. Run that all the same way, but I'm trying to say that, okay, we can't put a person in there because yes, it is very hard to find anybody to volunteer in this community. I agree with that. How can we make it more public for the committee to be seen when when you 3 are doing this work?
Or you mean transparent
Can we
now?
just make it a Zoom meeting? And the link, we post it on use the same guidelines as a council meeting. It's not a council meeting. We posted,
Okay.
it's up for everybody to see. They can click the link if they'd like. They can join if they like. But at least the discussion is open on what we're working on and
But you
I
opened
respect
it
it.
up for
I
neighbors.
wish to address a couple of issues here.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Number one,
Um,
if Mr. Hormanshay wants to come forward in a public meeting and say, I need help, that's entirely his privilege and right. I don't think we have the right to broadcast
Other people's,
other people's business.
Mm.
And that's why,
Across the.
that's why I wish to have a select committee to deal with the issues.
And handle it.
and
And
no,
handle it.
Just handle it.
no names need to be
No.
given.
I don't think ever.
But that's the case with the gentleman. He didn't want to seek for assistance.
I know.
Because they, you know,
I know. Charles talked
Well,
to me
many,
about it.
I will tell you right now, many disabled persons and elderly persons
They're not gonna say anything.
are concerned that if they ask for help, they're gonna be bundled off to the old folks home or to the nursing center.
Well, it can't
Correct.
be done, that can't be done without their
Well,
consent.
right, but
It's
can't-
still a fear.
you can't take
It's
away.
legitimate
his-
fear.
But I mean, let's be frank about this. Sure, let's do this. I'm just saying, but let's, among ourselves, let's be open about it.
oh, yeah,
Among ourselves.
Yeah,
But because we're handling the elderly and the seniors and the handicapped, there's no way I'm gonna say, oh, I have my handicapped people I want to take care of first.
I'm
You know-
not
you know what I'm
saying
saying?
that. I'm not
I'm
saying that.
saying as far as what the citizens are gonna think. There's no way I can play preferences here because I'm just addressing
I'm
the
not,
issues.
I'm not worried about anybody.
Okay, then let's.
I'm
try
just
this
saying for
another
the
way.
citizens, like he was saying that we
Can
have
we
to have
have the
meetings
city
and all that.
attorney to have oversight for it?
do you think the city attorney has time to come out here?
I have no
Yeah.
idea what.
Yeah,
the time
Yeah.
is.
yeah, we'll be,
Okay.
you'll see the bills go
For
up.
I
starters,
just finished that one off.
for starters, we pay her $150 for a service,
Yeah.
okay? So we should have her drive out and look at this obviously
No.
rotten set of steps.
Yeah.
Not
I
at
think
this
they,
time.
I think that's. pretty
I'm
helpful.
I'm just saying,
Conversation.
but
There's
But-
nothing wrong with the way he presented it with these three going over the criteria and then just bringing it to council for,
okay, sir,
to
can we
document.
schedule special meetings every third day? Because I don't want to wait for 2 and 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I believe that what
To
we're
have
looking
a
at, Tom,
decision.
I mean,
is
if we have that many, why not?
we have to look at cutting through the red tape. We are the red tape.
Yeah.
That means, okay, if we had these three people right here on that committee saying yes or no, if they have to wait 2 more weeks, because we just had a meeting on Thursday, today's Friday, and now they've got a project that needs to be done to get this man or lady what they need in their home to make their quality of life what it should be. I'm sorry, we can't start on this because I haven't taken it to the full council for approval.
Exactly. That's what.
They need the approval to do that. They need the approval that we would say, okay, regardless, we would follow blindly and trust them.
Do it.
Can you do it?
Well,
I don't think it's gonna happen that fast anyhow, but go ahead.
it should happen fast. It should happen
Oh,
fast.
I agree, it
And
should, but
what
I
I-
don't think it will.
What I would venture to say that I'm a paper person. I have paper trail. I document everything. So if there is ever a question, what I did, when I did, and how I did it, I have the evidence or the paperwork that needs to be done.
Okay,
That's it.
I know,
do it
Mayor.
this,
Oh.
do it this way, you two,
That's
you
all.
three approve it, get it done and bring it before council afterward. This is what has
It's
happened.
just a report.
Yes,
How about?
Just to give a
How
report of what has happened and where.
Yeah.
And accountability of the cash is all it is.
Exactly.
about we can authorize up to $10,000. Anything exceeding that has to come before council.
okay, but I still want it to come before
It's a
council
report.
what has happened, so we'll know.
Well, no, we will make a report at every
Yeah.
council meeting.
And I don't want any names, I just
Right.
want to say this person
Right.
A, we fixed their plumbing,
We built,
cleared
we
their
built a
trees,
set of
or we
steps
did
here. We
this.
put in
yeah,
a 65-foot long ramp here,
Right.
and it costs this much money.
right,
And it'll
This is
be
where we're at.
anonymized to where,
yes.
I mean, it's a small city. People will drive by and see the new ramp and said, oh, that's where it is. But
Not
I
necessarily,
don't
anybody
wanna
can build a
disclose-
ramp. And
I
it's
don't
not
wanna
that I don't
disclose.
trust you
What would this
guys,
group be
it's just that I want
Sir?
accountability.
No, and there's
What
nothing
would
wrong
this
with
little
that.
subcommittee be called?
Arkansas.
We don't need to, we don't need to.
Yeah,
Resident Assistance
Citizen,
Committee?
Citizen Assistance Committee.
Yeah, we
How's
already got a name.
that? Yeah.
Are we gonna utilize, like with the addition of the new public works person? I mean, could we utilize them to kind of offset some costs, maybe if there needs to be some legwork done?
Currently, sir, I think the new public works guy is gonna be working
Cutting grass?
seriously hard for the next 6 months.
Yeah,
You know, we've been behind in public works for years.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Let's just keep it up though.
I don't think that would be a proper allocation of the
Yeah.
city employees.
Now, I would like to see that any contractors that we do use, all of them must be bonded and have insurance. I
Yeah,
know
we're
there's a
using
lot of
public
good
funds,
handy.
we have to do it.
I know there's a lot of good handymans in the city and everything, but a lot of them aren't bonded. And I would not.
I'm just saying, man, that municipal purchasing 101,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't do business with an illegal
Just saying.
entity.
Right.
There are certain tasks that we can do. Mr. Horn say, tree that's fallen down.
Mhm.
We could hire somebody as a contract labor to take on a job like that.
Okay.
We don't need to hire a landscape
Right,
business.
right.
But for construction, no, you need
Yeah,
an insured contractor.
right.
A license.
No, you don't.
Electrician.
Electrician,
Plumber.
air conditioning and
Right,
plumbing,
that's what I'm
yes, you
saying.
have to have a licensed contractor. General contractor does not have to be state licensed.
Right, no, that's not what I'm saying.
But bonded,
Uh,
because they're going to someone's home. Liability.
Well, again, if they're outside and they're just cutting the tree.
No, I'm just saying,
But
he said a
to come inside,
contractor.
yes.
No,
Okay,
a contractor
yeah.
needs to be bonded.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
I'm
so
saying this
what
for the
kind of,
sake of the meeting, so because it's being
kind of,
recorded, so that way we know that we
Motion do
know
you need?
that they have to be.
I need a motion that authorizes myself, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez and Alderwoman Alvarado to
Sit on-
authorize citizen assistance up to $10,000.
I make a motion to authorize Mayor Fillinger, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez, and Alderwoman Alvarado to authorize
Expenditures.
expenditures of not more than $10,000 for citizen assistance, or what are we calling it?
Mhm.
That's it. Citizen assistance.
Per project.
Yeah, per project, right?
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Rupino to authorize myself, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez and Alderwoman Alvarado to authorize projects up to $10,000 for citizen assistance. May I have a
I'll that
second?
motion.
And Alderman Coffindaffer seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous. With no more discussion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Alderman Coffindaffer made a motion to adjourn at 7:24, seconded by Alderwoman Alvarado. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. I like everybody's packing up before we hold the vote.